Dear students, welcome to the science class. Dear students, in the last class we completed your third topic, that is nothing but we completed with the fabrics to the fiber topic, and we also completed the exercise questions in the last class itself. So that today we are going to start with new topic, that is nothing but sorting materials into groups. We are going to do the sorting materials into groups, that is nothing but your fourth chapter. Before that we have to know some parameters, some terms which will be useful in this topic. So that now my first question is to you, what is there in our surrounding? What is there in our surroundings? Right, when you see there in our surroundings, we have benches, we have tables, we have house, we have automobiles, we have hospitals, we have buildings, we have fields. Right, in the same manner when you see in the upper portion we have stars, we have sun. In the same manner when you see our sides, what we have air, we have gaseous molecules which are present, we have dust particles which are present, as well as we have water vapors. Right, water vapors, the everything which we are surrounded, or in the surroundings, everything which is coming, that is nothing but what? It is the matter. It is the matter. So matter is nothing but anything, everything which is surrounding us, which is surrounding us. So that when you check that, if you take the example of the table, it is also comes in the matter. If you take the example of the buildings, if you take the example of human being, if you take the example of animal being, all comes in the category of the matter. Everything which is there on which is there in surroundings is nothing but it is what? It is matter only. In the same manner we can define the matter. Matter is nothing but everything which surrounds us is matter. Everything which surrounds us is matter. So that everything is nothing but it should contain, it should have a mass. It should have a mass, that is nothing but weight. It should have a weight and it should occupy this space. It should occupy this space. For example, if you take the duster here, duster is having a mass. When you take it, it has a weight and it is also going to occupy this much space. It is also going to occupy this much space. For that reason, we can say that anything which has a mass and which is going to occupy this space is nothing but matter. If we take the example of animal being, they are going to occupy space as well as they are having the mass. For that reason, they are known as matter. In the same manner, if you take the example of the table, it is also a matter. Why? It has the mass and it is going to occupy the space. If you see your textbooks, if you see your books, they are also matter. Everything which is coming around us is matter. Everything which is coming around us is matter. I hope you understood about the matter. It is clear about the matter. Matter is nothing but which is come around us and which has the mass as well as which has the space, which is going to occupy the space, are nothing but the matter. In the same manner, when you take the non-living organisms only, non-living objects or non-living materials in our surroundings, human beings are living materials. In the same manner, if you take the animal beings, living those things, those living materials, living organisms, we are going to consider the non-living only. If you take the non-living, for example, if you take the table, in the same manner, if you take the example of the chair, if you take the example of the plastic bottle, water bottle, if you take the example of the textbook, if you take the example of paper, all comes in the category of what? All come in the category of the matter only. But is it possible to touch the table? Yes, it is possible. Now let this be the duster again. We are going to take the example of the duster again. Is it possible to touch that duster? Yes, it is possible. In the same manner, is it possible to touch the duster? Yes, it is possible. In the same manner, is it possible to feel the duster? Yes, we can feel that duster. The duster is in our hands, so that we can feel the duster also. We can touch the duster also, as well as we are going to feel the duster. So that we can say that anything in matter only, anything which we are going to feel, as well as which we are going to touch, which we are going to touch and which we are going to feel it, those matter materials, those substances are nothing but objects. Those substances are nothing but objects. In general, if you want to define the objects, objects are nothing but anything that we feel it and touch it. Anything that we feel it and touch it. Anything, it may be anything. It may be anything, it may be any organism, it may be any material, any substance, anything. If it is possible to touch it and if it is possible to feel it, then we can say it as object. Then we can say it as object. If we take the example of duster, yes, it is possible to touch it. Is it possible to feel it? Because of this, it is an object. In the same manner, if we take the piece of the cloth, is it possible to touch it? Yes. Is it possible to feel it? Yes. For that reason, this clothing material is what? It is what? It is an object. It is an object. In the same manner, if we take the textbook, is it possible to touch it? Yes. Is it possible to feel it? Yes. If though both the things are possible, then we can say it as an object. We can say it as an object. In the same manner, if you take the example of bench, can you touch it? Yes. Can you feel it? Yes. Because of that, bench is also an object. Take the example of the mobile phone. Can you see it? Yes. Can you touch it? Yes. Can you feel it? Yes. Because of that reason, mobile phone is also in what? It is also a object. So that in this manner, what we have to write? We have to write all the objects which we are going to see. So that for that reason you have to do an activity, that is nothing but you have to make a table. In that table you have to mark two things. One is object, another column just leave it blank. As in a page you have to make two columns. One column should be object, another column should be leave blank, so that in the further class, in the further sections, we are going to fill that blank with whatever comes there. So that first we have to write all the objects we are going to see, we are going to feel and we are going to touch it. So that first example will be what? It will be duster. It will be what? It will be duster. If we take the second example, what will be the second example? What will be the second example? Now I am going to take the examples which is surrounding me only. Now in this class only, I am going to take those examples. You have to take the examples which you are going to see in your day-to-day life. You are going to see in your surroundings. And those examples, those tables should be up 2 pages. Up to 2 pages you have to write all the examples. Right? And again you have to, in the further class we are going to discuss using those examples only. So that we have duster. In my hand I have a chalk piece, so that chalk is also an object. Why? I am going to touch it as well as I am going to feel it. Because of this chalk is an object. If we take the example of this board, blackboard, now is it possible to touch it? Yes. It is possible to feel it? Yes. For that reason, board is also what? It is also an example for the object. It is also example for the object. That is nothing but blackboard. Here on a dais I have a table, so that table is also, I am going to touch it as it is possible. In the same manner I am going to feel it. Yes, it is also possible. For that reason, desk is also an example for what? Table is also an example for the object. In the same manner, bench, yes, it is also possible, so that we can touch it as well as we feel it. Whichever thing, whatever the thing may be, if it is possible to touch those things, if it is possible to feel those things are known as objects. Those things are known as objects. For example, here it is bench. In the same manner, if we take the spectacles, if we take the specs, it is also an object. Now take the example of my shirt, clothing material. Is it possible to touch it? Yes. Is it possible to feel it? Yes. Because of these things, the shirt material is also can be classified into what? It can be classified into objects. So that shirt, right? In this manner you have to write 2 pages of those things. You have to make two pages of this table, so that it will be clear understanding about the objects. So that I hope this is clear. What is object? Object is anything which we can going to touch it and which we can going to feel it. If you take the example of the water bottle, yes, I can touch it, I can feel it. If you are touching it, that it can be what? It can be object. If you are feeling it, it can be object. Some objects can be identified by touching those things. Some objects can be feeling those things. So that can be object. In the same manner, this piece of paper, your paper only, this piece of paper is what? I am touching it, that means it is an object, so that we can write it as paper also. Paper also. Now if we take the example of bat, bat is also what? We can touch it, that means it is also an object. If we take the example of the ball, it is also an object. If we take the example of mobile phone, what? It is also an object. If we take the example of plate, if we take the example of pen which is used for the writing purpose, plate which is used for the purpose of feeding or eating in that plate. So those are the examples of the what? Objects. In the same manner, if we take the examples which we are going to use in our home, we are going to use the vessels for the purpose of the preparation of the food. So vessels are what? They are also objects. Table we are going to use in our house, that is also object. Fan, it is also an object. TV, it is also an object, right? Tiles used for the flooring purpose, it is also an object, right? Shoes, trousers, chappals, sandals, floaters, all are an objects. So that anything which we can touch it, now we can classify into it as objects only. So that I hope this is clear. Anything we can going to touch it, it is known as what? It is known as objects. They are known as objects, right? In the same manner, if you remember the food and cloth chapter, that is nothing but fabrics to the fiber chapter as well as food. Where does it come from? If you remember those two chapters, we are going to see the variety of food. In the same manner, we are going to see the variety of clothing material, right? In the same manner, when you check the food closely, food contains different type of ingredients. So that is nothing but to constitute a food item, we are going to add different type of ingredients. For example, if we take the rice, we are going to use the rice, we are going to use the water, as well as we are going to use the salt. So make an food item. That is nothing but rice. If we take the example of the cotton fabrics also, clothing material, there may be a variety, clothing material will be in variety, so that different clothing material has different variety and they are made from the different fibers. If I take the cotton is going to be made from the cotton fiber. If I take the example of synthetic fibers, that if I am going to use the synthetic clothing, that is nothing but we are going to use the polyester, we are going to use the nylon, we are going to use the rayon. In the same manner, if I take the different food items, they are going to have the different ingredients. They are made from the different ingredients. In the same manner, if we take all the examples of the objects, it may be food item, it may be clothing material or fabrics, or it may be these objects. When you check all these objects, those objects are also made from the different items, different substances. Like in food, there are n number of ingredients which are used for the purpose of the preparation of the food. In the same manner, when you check the clothing material, there are n number of clothing fibers are used for the purpose of the production of those clothing fabrics. In the same manner, when you check those things, these are also made from the different items. That is nothing but these are also made from the different substances. When you check those substances, if you check the example of the chalk, to make this chalk, we have small amount of calcium hydroxide, which is converted into what? It is converted into calcium carbonate. That is nothing but chalk. So that to make this chalk, we are going to arrange the small pieces of those things, and we are going to add water into calcium carbonate, so that it will become chalk, right? So that when you take the duster also, we are going to use what? For the purpose of making the duster, the ingredients, that is nothing but the substance which we are going to use for the making of the duster is nothing but what? First one is paper. It's not paper, we can say it as piece of cloth. See here, this is a piece of cloth we are going to use for the purpose of the duster, as well as we are going to use the wood. We are going to use the wood. Here in this case we can use cotton also. So by these two substances, these things, that is nothing but duster is made. Duster is made. So that what are these substances are known as? What are these substances are known as? If you remember the example of the food topic, food components which are used for the purpose of making food is nothing but ingredients of the food. There it is known as the ingredients. In the same manner it contains nutrients. In that same manner, the substances which are used for the purpose of the making of the objects is nothing but they are known as materials. They are known as material. Right, the objects are made of the substance. Those substances are nothing but material. Right, if you check that, material is nothing but these all objects, whatever object you are going to see, whatever may be, it may be, whichever object it may be, they are made from some substances. They are made from some substances. Those substances are nothing but material. Those substances are nothing but material. So that we can say that the objects are made of the substance. The objects which are made of the substances, those substances are nothing but what? Those are the materials. Those are the materials. If you take the example of the material, if you take the example of a t-shirt, it is made from the cotton. So that what will be the object here? It will be t-shirt one, cloth. And what will be the material of that object? It will be cotton. So that it is made from the cotton fabric. In this way, all these objects are made from the different type of materials. Different type of materials, where materials are nothing but those are the substances which are used for the purpose of the making of the objects. So that already I told you, keep a blank in a page. Right? We have to make two columns. In one column, you have to write objects. We have to list all those objects. In the second column, you have to leave it as a blank. So that in that blank, what we are going to write? We are going to write the materials. We are going to write the materials which are used for the purpose of the making of this object. So that if we take the example of the duster, which all are objects which all are materials we are taken here? We are taken what? First one is cloth piece. So that we can take it as cloth. Second we are used wood. Second we are used wood. In the same manner, if you take the second example, that is nothing but chalk. What we have used here? We have used chalk powder. We are used chalk powder here. In the same manner, blackboard. If we check the blackboard, we are using plastic here and wood. Plastic and wood. In the same manner, if you take the example of the table, table is made from the what? It is made from the metal. It is made from the metal when you see it. As well as some tables are made from the wood also. Some tables are made from the wood also, as well as some tables are made out of the plastic. Right. In the same manner, if you take the example of the bench, it is also made from the metal or it is made from the wood. It is made from the metal or it is made from the wood. In the same manner, if you take the example of specs, what are the materials used? There are glass, plastic, metal, sometimes wood can be used. In the same manner, if you take the example of shirt, what are used? Cloth and plastic. Cloth, plastic, and in some cases metals, and some cases there will be leather. Right. In the same manner, if you take the paper in this case we are taken wood. For making of the paper, what we are going to use? We are going to use the wood. In this manner, what we have to do? We have to list all the objects as well as we have to list the substances which are going to use for the making of these objects. The substance which are going to use for the making of these objects, so that bat can be used, so that bat can be of wood or of plastic. For the children, we are going to bring the bats which are made from the plastic, small bats. We are going to take it from the fair. So that ball, it may be of one plastic ball. Second, it will be rubber ball. Third, maybe it may be of leather ball. We are going to make the ball by using leather. In the same manner, phone is made from the glass. It is used plastic as well as metal. So that in this manner you have to make all those lists. If you take the example of plate also, plastic, wood, or maybe sometimes it is going to be used the metal. In the same manner, pen, metal as well as plastic. So that in this way you have to make the list, and you have to make the list along with what? We have to make the list of the objects along with the materials that are nothing but substances which are used for the purpose of making those objects. Right? Those substances are nothing but what? Those substances are materials. Those substances are nothing but what? Those are the materials. Now when you closely look the materials here, in duster we are using the wood and cloth. In blackboard we are using wood and plastic. So in duster as well as blackboard we are using the wood as the common material. When you take the example of the table also, we are going to use wood. In the same example, if you take the example of the bench, we are going to use wood. In specs, we are going to use wood. In paper, we are going to use wood. In bat, we are going to use wood. Right? When you make the list of those things, that is nothing but when you take the list, all the variety of objects we are going to see. When you make a list of all the objects, when you check that list, when you analyze those lists, we are coming to see that some common materials are there. By using those materials, we are going to produce large amount of objects. That is nothing but those objects are made from that material only. If you take the example of here wood, by using wood we can produce duster. By using wood we can produce blackboard. We are going to make table. We are going to produce bench, specs. By using only single material, right? By using only single material. When we analyze this table, by using only single material we can produce what? Large amount of objects. So that a given material can be used for the making of large number of objects. That is nothing but single material can be used for the production of the large number of objects. The wood can be used like this. Wood can be used for the making of the large number of objects. It can be used for the making of the cupboard in home. It can be used for the making of the doors of the windows. It can be used for the making of the doors of what? Doors of the covering of those windows and doors. In the same manner, we can produce what? Benches, tables by using what? By using only wood. So that by this we can say that a single material can be used to produce a large amount of objects. In the same manner, if you check the duster here, there we are using the cloth and wood. If you check the blackboard, we are using plastic and wood. If you check the table, we are using metal, wood and plastic. In the same manner, if you check the spectacles, that is nothing but we are using the glass, plastic, metal, wood. So that analyzing this table which we are made here, analyzing those things, after seeing those things, we can come to a conclusion that a single object can be made from the different materials. In the same manner, a single material can be used for the production of the different objects. In the same manner, a single object can be produced from the different materials. So that is nothing but a given material can be used for the making a large number of objects. In similar manner, a making a single object can be used 2 or 3 materials. For making a single object only we are going to use 2 to 3 or more than 2 materials. In the same manner, a single material can be used for the purpose of making large number of objects. This is all about the matter, this is all about the object, this is all about the material. So that what you have to do, you have to make the list of objects as well as the material which are used. Again in that list we have to make a list of the material, single material. By using that material what type of objects we can be produced. For example, if you take that another table, you have to make in that table we have to write the object material. By that material which type of object we are going to produce. For example, if we take the example of wood, what type of material we are going to produce here? We are going to produce blackboard, duster, bat, bench, table. Like this you have to make another list, so that in the next further sections we should clearly analyze those things for the purpose of the further section. So that as homework, make those 2 lists. One is of this, second one is of that. So that in the next class we are going to see the further sections. Up to that point, up to that time, stay well, stay home, take care. Thank you.